Hello and welcome to another tutorial from MoICT. In this tutorial, we're going to be making a JavaScript calculator using Visual Studio Code. So this is the calculator that we're going to be making. So as you can see, we have our H1 tags. So this is currently running in Firefox. We got our tags there, and then we also have two input boxes along with 4 hyperlinks here that basically does the calculation for us. So we have to put in 2 numbers here. So if I just say 12 and then 12, I click on add. On the bottom here, it will show the both of them added together is 24, subtract is 0, multiply is 144, and by dividing it, it goes into ones. Okay, so we're going to be doing this one purely using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Let's get started by creating a new file in my Visual Studio Code here. If I just go to my Explorer, I'm working under the JS tutorials folder. Inside of here, I can just create a new file. Call it calculator.html. So this will be my calculator file that's basically going to run. I'm also using a extension in Visual Studio Code called Go Live or Live Server, not Go Live. So the Live Server, what it does is if I create a page, it will create a virtual server on the computer and it will load it up on your browser, and as soon as you save the file, it will update the HTML page right here. So let me just show you how this one works. So I'm going to create a HTML skeleton here, and then head. Inside the head we'll have the title, say calculator app in MoICT. After the head, we'll do the body. So inside the body here, I'm just going to do a h1 tag, say hello there. Okay, and now if I click on Go Live, okay, as you can see, my hello there header is showing up, and right underneath that, if I do a H3 and say hello again and click Ctrl S, it will literally update it. So this kind of speeds up the process of creating a web-based application at any one time, because then you can just double check what you're doing there, and then also, you don't have to keep opening it and refreshing the pages over and over again. Okay, so I'm just going to delete these two from there. Okay, inside the head, I also need the style tag. We'll put the styles inside the HTML file itself. Alright, so inside the body, we're going to be creating a divider, and then we'll call it head id to main. So this is going to be the main divider that's basically going to hold all of our elements inside. Inside of that, we're going to do a h1, say js calculator MoICT. So as you can see, that shows up on the side there, and then I'll say input. So input, it can be text, that's perfectly fine. ID, I'm going to say num a, and then I'm going to duplicate this line by holding Alt, Shift, and down. Okay, and then I'm going to create another one for num b. Okay, and right after that, I'm going to do a paragraph. This one will say enter above, and then click in function from below. Yeah, I'll wrap the text as well so you can see the whole thing. As you can see, our 2 input boxes are showing up there alongside with a paragraph. Okay, so and then right after that, I need 4 hyperlinks. I'm going to do press tab, and then that will do a hyperlink for us. Okay, and this one's text is going to be add. Let me just do the JavaScript bit as well, so we don't have to copy it that much. Okay, and then so to make the hyperlink work with JavaScript, so we want to click on this hyperlink, and then for this hyperlink to basically run a JavaScript function that's also going to be set in the same page. What we'll have to do, we'll have to say JavaScript like so, colon, void, do a semicolon end of that one, and then put a 0 there. So basically this one knows that it's running a JavaScript command directly from this hyperlink reference. We can also do a on click here. So that's where we're going to name the function and give the function a value. Okay, I'm going to duplicate this one 4 times, and this one can be subtract, this one can be multiply, and then this one is divide. Okay, so you can see the 4 hyperlinks are showing up there. Then the last paragraph, okay, give the ID of total, and then this one say total is, let's give a bunch of zeros there. Okay, so these are basically the elements that we need for this page. Okay, and we're going to basically run the script directly from this page. So as we move forward with the JavaScript tutorials, I'll show you how to put it all into an external file. Okay, so if you look at the page that I have here, I have a bit of a gradient effect in the back, right? And this is done through the CSS gradient website. So just type in Google CSS gradient, and it will give you this website. And I'm using the last effect there, this one, and it actually gives you the CSS code they can copy into the CSS of the page. Okay, so I'm just going to copy that quickly. Inside the styles here, let's make some space. Okay, the body. After that, we do the curly brackets. Okay, so and inside of that, now we're gonna give the properties that we need. So first, I'm gonna say color to black. So I want all the text color of the page to be black. Font size, let's make it 16 points. And now we can paste that CSS that we actually copied. And if I go back to the page, you can see it's already been applied here. Okay, and if I change that to say gold and save it, we'll also change all the colors of the text to gold. Okay, I think we prefer it as black, to be honest. Okay, and that's for the body. So the body is what holds everything, for everything that you see here in your web browser. This is what actually holds everything together. Okay, and the head part we don't see because this is like, you know, this is right there. So as you can see, it says calculator app with MoICT. That's right here. Okay, so the head part basically does the work behind it, behind the scenes, to make the website look the way it should. And the body part is what actually runs what is actually displayed on the screen. Okay, so moving on to the next one. So we have the divider main. So I'm going to say hashtag to main. Okay, so basically anytime you're selecting an ID, you do with the hash, and then anytime you're selecting a class, you do with the dot. But we're not using any classes here. That'll be in the future tutorials. In this one's case, I'm just going to copy and paste it from my last example. Be easier to show. Okay, so as you can see, it's kind of changed a lot of it around for us. So in the main, we got the width set to 600 pixels. We're giving it a border there you can see around. Margin left, margin right, that's to center this box. So right now, if I make the page bigger or smaller, it's always in the center of the page. Okay, margin top is 10%, so basically that's just dropping it from the top there. Margin bottom, I just left it to auto, so if a page is too small, it can still scale. Text align, everything inside the div here is basically centered, and then you got the border radius of 40 and the background color to white. Okay, and then you can do the same here as well. If you're going to change stuff, you can always change it to different things. So as soon as you save it, the live preview will update it. But after that, what we need to do is the input and the numbers. So right here, I'm just gonna pull them down. So both input boxes here have been styled now, so that this is the main input tag, right? So it's basically saying anything inside, make it centered, padding 5 pixels, font size 16, margin is 10, so basically they have a space between them. And then you have the width and then the border radius around them. Okay, and then num A and num B, these are the two tags on these input values, right? So basically both of them have got a background color and a border properties, right? So you can change the border color as well as anything else that you want. Okay, lastly we need to do for the hyperlinks. So we have got 4 hyperlinks here. I want to style them so they look like buttons. As you can see now, just by copying that. So we gave them a padding. So the padding basically is what's inside. So between the text and the border, that's where the paddings are. Okay. We also gave you a hover effect. Basically, when I hover over it, the background goes to white and the text color goes to black. Okay. And basically, you have your margin. You have the width. Width is 15% of the overall box. Okay. Background color, we give it a chocolate. And then you got the display inline block, and then color set to white. Okay, the reason I'm using the inline block is because then it actually puts it all in line with each other. Otherwise, if you have it as a block, it's going to be a separate part, such as a paragraph. And the last bit of CSS that we need is for the paragraph. Okay, so I just want to make the paragraph bold and align it like in the center, but it's already centered, so I mean you can still put it down if you need to. I'm just going to get rid of some of the empty spaces from there. Okay, so that's the CSS. And now let's get to the JavaScript side. So the way this project is going to be done is we're going to make one function that's basically going to collect information from these two input fields. And when you click on it, inside the function, we'll have a switch statement that's going to check which button you clicked and then what information was passed through from this on the click tag. Okay. Now let's go ahead and make a function in JavaScript. Let's call it let's do math. Match math. Okay, and the curly brackets. Okay, one of the things different about JavaScript I found is that you don't have to explicitly say what type of data type that you're creating. So we don't need to say int or string, or let's say float or something like that, right? You can just say variable, and then whatever value you put inside of it, it will automatically adjust to that. And let's call this one number A. And in this case, what we want to do is number A, we need it to be an integer, right? But we want to collect the information from the num A text box, input box here. So if the input box has like say 22, that's going to be seen as a string. But we can't do like, if 22 plus 22 string is going to be 2222, right? It's not going to be 44 because it's just going to add the other string end of the first string. So what we need to do in this case is we need to parse the input value to a integer and then save it into the number A variable here. Let's try to do that. Say parse int. So we'll do a bracket, semicolon, and then now we can say document.get element by ID, and inside of that one we need to collect the num A. Okay, and then what we want to do is we want to get the value. Okay, so we go through document, get element by ID, num A, and then value. Okay, so we're going to do the same line again, but this time we're going to change it to num B and then change that to num B. All right, and at this point what we can do is I can just say console.log, let's say num A plus num B, number B. Okay, I just want to check if it's actually reading it, and then we also need to run the function here. So as long as you run the function, it should be able to collect whatever value that we have in between them, and then should be able to show that for us. If I refresh that, it shows nothing. That's because I have to go into the development log, and then I think it's right here. I just need to make that one slightly bigger here. Okay, as you can see, it shows the number 44 there. Okay, that's because it's collected 22 from both, right? And then it's showing 44. So if I change that to 60 and then refresh that again, it will show 82. Okay, so that seems to be working just fine. Good. Okay, back inside the function, delete those. Okay, we need to do another variable here. Let's call it total. Is equals to document get element by ID, and in this case we're just going to get the paragraph that's called total. So now we need to do the big switch statement. Okay, and I think we also forgot So what we're going to do is this function here, I need this one to pass in a parameter. Just going to call it type for now. Parameter of type, so that's going to be a string that's going to be passed in every time a different button is clicked. Okay, I can say switch. Okay, switch type. So after that switch, so whatever type that we actually pass in here, close that for a sec. Make that bigger. Okay, so the switch that we're going to be, so the cases that we're going to be passing in basically is going to be case add. So if the add string is passed in, then we can do something. And then we do one first. Total inner HTML equals 2. Total is, and then plus. Now we need to do a bracket here first, so we can do the maths inside the brackets. Number A plus number B. Okay, so it's going to do the maths there for us if the add button is clicked. Okay, I'm just going to copy this first. Paste here, and then paste it again. Okay. It's easier readable with the indentation right. And this one can be subtract. This is instead of plus, this one's going to be minus. This one could be multiply. So instead of plus, it's going to be an asterisk sign to multiply the two numbers together. And this one will be divide. So this one will be slightly different than the other ones, because we're going to basically to create a new variable inside of here to do the decimal points for us. So let's call it var decimal is equals to parse float. Inside the parse float, we're going to say number A is divided by number B. Okay, and we also want to give it 2 decimal points after it. And then to do that, you say dot to fixed, and then you pass in the 2. And so that's basically for the 2 decimals. If you pass it to 1, it will give you 1 decimal. If you pass it to 2, 2 or 3, and so on. Okay, and instead of that one having that to do the maths there, so total to inner HTML total is equals to, let's pass in the decimal here. So whenever it's this divide, we just need to style the decimal points, otherwise it's going to be like 4 or 5 decimal points if it needs to be. So we're going to put it to like just 2 decimals and then just display that the total. Okay, so how do we run this? Using these hyperlinks. Okay, so at the moment if I click on them, nothing is happening. Okay, so to run this one, so inside the on click, the one that we left blank, we say let's do math, and then inside of that one we need to now pass in a string or add. Because these ones are being already covered with the double quotation, we can't use double quotations again. We have to use single quotations to pass in the string. We'll do add here. As you can see, I've done 2 single quotations there. Let's do math again. And then inside of that one, I can do subtract. Okay. Inside of this one, so let's do math again. And inside of that, I can say multiply. Let's do math again. And then inside of that one, I can just say divide. Make sure the spelling is the same as used in the switch statement. Otherwise, the spelling is not the same. It will still take the value in, but it will not do anything because it doesn't know what to do with the information that's been passed in. So we've got add, subtract, multiply, and then divide. Okay, great. So let's try this. As you can see, I'm adding 60 plus 22, subtract 38, multiply, divide. Okay, so if I just do 2 plus 2 here, 4, 0, 4, and then 1. Okay, it was as simple as that. So the idea behind this was that we create one function that will simply check which button that was clicked or which hyperlink was clicked, and then it will update the results for us using a very simple JavaScript tutorial. I hope you guys had fun with this one, and I will see you in the future tutorials.